Hello everyone, welcome back to the Academy Drivers Series. Your commentator today is Lucas Aid, and this of course is round number 1 at China. And you are joined for the short qualifying session, of which there is 15 minutes remaining, so just one qualifying session to determine the order. Let's see how the drivers get on today. Quite a few returning names, some of whom you may be familiar with. A couple of new ones as well, such as D-Bay, SO9, S7. I think Morpheus did a couple of races last season and he's back, so welcome back to him. Evo, I think people know about him, of course. Hulu, Messiah as well, names that you may or may not have heard of. But anyway, that is a 16-car grid, and as I say, this is a short qualifying session. So we'll ride on board with D-Bay, as I've not seen him race before, so let's see how he can fare in qualifying. So there you go, that was D-Bay's lap of 1:33.1, a very solid lap. So we're now right on board with Carter in the McLaren. I'm just sharing the link to this stream in a few places as we speak. Right, that's done. So let's get back to it. Carter then looking to improve on his ADS career so far in the new season. A lot of wheel spin on the rears, but he should be absolutely fine with that. And then invalidates on that final corner. You saw him cut across the grass there. Game was not a fan of that. And Chimita does a great job, it has to be said. That's really awesome stuff from the Haas driver. Good performance so far. Still 11 minutes to go. So we're right on board with the teammate of Tijano, which is Juffen or Suffen. I feel like Tijano was in the Ferrari last year, but I can't remember if his teammate was Suffen or not. Wow! Super aggressive there. Keeps it on the track. Probably lost a little bit of pace though doing that. And no worries, Aiden. See your message there, no problem at all, my friend. And Zuffin into the pits, as is Capo. So on the subject of Ferrari, let's follow Tajano. He is actually 1/10 slower through sector 1, so he has his work cut out to improve, but he's currently riding in 8th position. And in the meantime, Mishu is still our provisional pole sitter with a 1:32.3. So of course a lot of the big names from last season were promoted to the Sunday League, the sort of tier 1, if you would call it that. So there's some new faces in the Academy Drivers Series, which is essentially tier 2, but some names remain. Looks quite fast from Tajano, but let's see what he sets across the line. So 1:33.4, so he does improve, and he's into 6th position. So marginal gains, but still makes a big difference come at the end of the session and the final positions. So a vast number of drivers on outlaps: Morpheus, Felix, Capo, Tyler, Carter and Evo. And we'll ride on board with Tyler. So this long right-hander, there's a couple of different lines you can take, but it's all about being smooth and of course just keeping high average speed. And then you want to make sure you're not wearing the tyres too much through there as well come race day. But in quali you just happily roll it around there, and then you want to get the power down nice and early out of turn 2. This turn, I think what is now technically turn 4, is a really difficult right-hander because it's downhill, so you can lock up rather easily. And then this sweeping left into right is also extremely difficult because it's kind of like not a disguised apex, but you have to kind of hang it in there a lot longer than you expect, and the understeer can be really extreme, especially if you have a bad setup. But of course, if you overcompensate for that, you can have quite a twitchy or tetchy setup that kind of wants to boot you around the back every time you go through that section. And then into this sort of secondary right long hand sweeping section, again it's the same concept, just hanging the car in there and then maximizing your exit speed, so throttle down as soon as you can, but not too early because you can easily lose the back end and you can spin out there. Then it's all about picking your braking zone into this right hander, and maximizing exit speed of course and traction. And then this left hander again, deceptively hard, and yeah, deceptively hard. Tyler is just slightly overdone it there. His entry was fine, he actually could have corrected that on the exit, but it kind of just catches up onto you without you realizing, and before you know it you've gone wide and you've invalidated. It is a tough corner, and again massive themes of understeer just killing your lap. When you're making a setup here, you don't want understeer at all really because of things like that, but you need a setup that's comfortable and you feel like you can take sections such as this that Carter's doing without spinning. And actually Carter looks very planted, you know, this setup looks very very good in terms of aero and grip there. So this looks like an easier car to drive than the one we just watched. Oh, and we've seen it. As I mentioned earlier, that is what happens when you put the throttle down slightly too early on those sweeping right-handers, and the car will just drop on you. So as I say, technically quite a hard track is China. One I quite enjoy, I have to say, one of my absolute favourite tracks. So 5.5 minutes remaining in the session. No one has touched Mishu's time of 1:32.3 yet. The next closest is 5/10 down. So they have a lot of work to do to catch up to the Mercedes driver. Speaking of Mercedes, we're on board with Capo. And he has elected not to set that lap time. Wasn't happy with that one. So we can ride on board with Chimitta, who's actually harvesting. Let's see if he changes this. No, I think he is setting a hot lap. But we'll stay on board with the Haas driver. I was impressed with his first run that I saw. And he's almost matched the time exactly. Let's guess a little bit on the grass, which might then cause understeer from the front left tyre. Very careful with the throttle. Actually gets a bit of a bit of wheel on the curb, which can throw you off, but he's okay. Oh, and someone's at the doorbell apparently. Too bad, I've got to go. Apologies, I had someone turn up to just check a couple of meter readings, which I thought was not even legit because of the time, but they're actually legit. They even showed their their ID card and everything. So Morpheus, purple sector 2. So really going for it now with 2 minutes to go in this session. Can the Red Bull driver do anything? In the meantime, Messiah and Gracious have edged sort of closer to Michu's time, but still no one is there yet. Still 5/10 between them, between Michu and the others. So yeah, we'll see what's going on here, but it's not looking too optimal for the others at this stage. Having said that, I think everyone's got at least one flying lap in them yet, so this is certainly not done. Oh, Morpheus has also gone over the grass on that, I think, final corner, and he's invalidated. That seems to be the story of this session, and with 3% battery and 1 minute 22 to go, I think it's kind of game over for qualifying for Morpheus. Really, really bad timing there. Not really an ideal time to cross the line, in all honesty. But these things happen. These things happen. So, of the top three then, Misha will be the first to set a hot lap. Then it'll be Gracious and then Messiah. Those two are still in sector number 2. Felix is going along, so we'll stay on board with him. Currently improving. Don't rule him out in the Aston Martin. And then we'll just pay a close attention to those top three. Just got to quickly sign a form. 2 seconds. So we're riding on board with Felix, and then we're going to bounce all the way back to Gracious and Messiah and Mishu. So Capo with the 133.0, that looks tidy. And in the meantime, Carter jumped up to a 132.7. So he's done enough for a provisional second, but let's see, will Felix respond? And he only sets fast enough a 4th position, a 132.9. Good lap time though. So let's see then, Mishu 2/10 improved. Is he going to set into the 131s? That's the question, but things looking really good for the Mercedes driver at this stage. Good session so far. 2 drivers have retired, Atsapatsa and Hulu. I'm not entirely sure why. I didn't see if they spun out or did anything. I'll try and get that information for you. But in the meantime, Michu sets a 132.332. He lost time. Major time in Sector 3. And D-Base sets a 132.7. Welcome to the Academy Driver Series. And let's ride on board then with Messiah, because he is coming along. You never know what could happen here. Anything at this stage. I mean, Sector 3, there's so much time to gain and lose just in that massive right-hander that's coming up here under heavy braking. You see a slight lock-up from the Red Bull driver, but nothing major. I think it was just the rear tyres ever so slightly. And just make sure you don't invalidate. That's it. Get that rotation. Maybe a little bit cautious, but I can understand it, quite frankly. And what lap time was that? I can't see. It was enough for second. Enough for second. Oh, good effort there from the Red Bull. But it wasn't enough to take away pole from Mishu in the Mercedes, who sets a 132.3. He's joined on the front row, of course, by Messiah, the lap time you just saw there, a 132.4. And then Gracious rounds off your top 3 for quali with a 132.5. So very close indeed in the end, which is exactly what we want for this new Academy Driver Series on round number 1. D-Bay surprised me and actually did really, really well there. 4th position, good stuff from him. Carter 5th, Felix 6th, Capo 7th, Morpheus 8th, Schmitter 9th, Tijano 10th, good to see him back. Glizzy in 11th, Zuffen 12th, Tyler in 13th, Evo 14th, and Atsapatsa and Hulu did not set a time. That is your 16-car grid for round number 1. So there should be a 2-minute break, and then the race will begin. Here we go then. And away we go. And it's quite a slow start, it feels like. I think Messiah's got a decent launch there, but Mishu's going to hold around the outside. 3 abreast, though, lower down the order. And that's the Ferrari, I think, of Tejano. And then you've got Zuffen now falling down a little bit. Actually, a really clean start from these lot. I have to say, excellent driving there. Tejano in the thick of it in 9th place, and Dibe and Felix now side by side battling for 3rd position. Let's just get the details up there for you. And yeah, look at this. Excellent stuff there. Felix on the inside of Dibe. He's up 3 positions from the start. A flying Aston Martin there on lap number 1. Gracious down 2, of course. Didn't have the best of getaways, but Mishu's held on to the lead of this race thus far. Carter as well. Carter and Morpheus. So Carter's fallen down 2 positions now. Morpheus up 2, says thank you very much. Already atoning for the disappointing end to his qualifying session. And Messiah is slipping behind Mishu here. I mean, Glizzy. Oh, something happened here. Carter falling back, all sorts. But now he's going to have a good slipstream. So down 5, but a good exit. And this is pretty chaotic stuff. And in front, you can see Evo and Capo fighting for 7th. Evo on the outside. Oh, and it's already contact. No, Carter, though, trying to sort of keep out of that one. And it's really difficult stuff because then he actually got overtaken by Glizzy, I think. So yeah, just a really unfortunate one. Oh, and I think someone's cut the grass there. Not their front wing, so we're okay. The 2 Williams of Evo and Glizzy, though, they are almost touching into turn number 1. And Messiah has at least drawn back to 8 tenths behind. And Dibe and Gracious fighting. So Gracious fighting back. And he's back into 4th position. Good stuff there. And Carter and Zuffen. Carter down the inside. Oh, it's going to be close. Good exit there from Zuffen. And he then, of course, gains the inside into the next 2 corners, really. Just hangs it out to the outside, which becomes the inside. And Zuffen is in P11. I saw a little bit of speculative movement there from Asafatsa, seeing if he could shape up a move on Carter. So Carter going backwards at this stage, not what he wanted. Lap 2 of 28. Tyler has a penalty already, not ideal. But good work from Messiah, though, because at one point it seemed like he was going to allow Mishu to slip out of DRS range, but that does not appear to be the case at all. He's going to give it a good go. I've just got to mute for a second, but I'm going to keep you on board with Felix in P3. Wow, so much going on Tuesdays. Apologies, but it looks like Felix has been having a great little battle there. Just holding on ahead of Tajano now, so he's back to his original position of P6. I hope you enjoyed that one. Sometimes no commentary is pretty good when you're following a good driver. Anyway, let's ride on board with Morpheus. He does have a penalty. Let's see what penalty he has. 3 seconds. He's running on the hard tyre, and he's half a second behind D-Bay. D-Bay's had an excellent first race in the Academy Driver Series, but Misha is 15 seconds and pretty much ahead in the lead with 3 laps to go. So unless there was some sort of safety car, which I don't think there even would be now, he is absolutely fine. Evo running, but you know what, let's stay on board with Morpheus. Evo and Hulu are behind Chimitta though, but Chimitta's on medium tyres, so we'll see how that evolves. But we'll stay on board with Morpheus and see if he can get the job done with DRS here for P3. Just runs out of straight there, but now we'll ride on board with this Hulu Evo battle with Chimitta as well. Not the best camera angle, that's pretty crap, but not my fault. Evo gets the move done. Does he go for the double move around the outside contact? But they're okay, and Evo does get the double move done, and he's up into P8. Excellent stuff from the Williams driver. Chimitta just sort of caught by surprise there, I feel like. Pretty sure all their cars are okay. Yeah, no meaningful damage incurred. So, will anyone be able to make a late move at the end of this race? Morpheus has a penalty, but he's putting pressure on D-Bay. Not sure how many warnings D-Bay has, because of course he might just be 1 warning away. So it always pays to put the car under pressure, as Morpheus is demonstrating very aptly for us. And that lovely positioning of the car gives him a good switchback. Now, who will get DRS? I think it is actually Morpheus, because the DRS line in China is nice and early, which I like. I like an early DRS so that no one can clown around in the braking zone. So yeah, Morpheus gains DRS, and then that will solidify his 3rd position. Atsapatsa is going to run out straight, I think, to make this move on Hulu. So those ones have calmed down. So we'll just stay on board with D-Bay and just sort of walk you through this nice battle here. Oh, Hulu and Atsapatsa are coming along here. What's happened to Atsapatsa? Okay, wasn't expecting the move, but there we go. So Hulu's into P10. And Hulu's picked up a 3-second penalty. Oh dear. Not the way to do it, because now he's stuck with the others with penalties. That was his sort of golden ticket to P10. And now he's going to have to genuinely get the place back on track. That's not ideal. Right, so D-Bay and Morpheus, apologies, of course, as soon as I move across, things happen. So, yeah, D-Bay into P4, half a second behind Morpheus. Morpheus with the penalty, though, but it's good that he got the move done. So can D-Bay come back? Not quite. And a nice defensive line from Morpheus there. So this is going to run to the last lap. Speaking of the last lap, Mishu already pretty much at the end of Sector 1 now, on the final lap. Just marching on, having a very nice jolly session to himself. Relaxed time trial style. D-Bay though, He is net P3, but he wants to try and get the move done on track if he can. So far, he's come up slightly short. Evo within half a second of Tajano for P7. We'll keep an eye on that one. And then big battles here, of course, as we've seen all race with Chimita, Atsapatsa and Hulu. But Hulu has actually dropped back a little bit, so really it's just Chimita and Patsa. Oh, good line from Patsa. Gets the cut back there, the switch back. Almost makes heavy contact with Chimita. I think they're both struggling under traction. And then Atsapatsa brakes really nicely, and again he's going to try that switchback maneuver. Good on the traction. Narrowly avoids contact with his front left, but he's going to run out of room and road there, and then this section becomes very difficult to overtake. He's got to back your car off and try again. Does look like Atsapatsa has a lot more grip than Chimita. Look at the way he's able to maneuver these corners and take nice early apexes, or late entries and early apexes. It's yeah, very good to see, but I think this will only end one way. Let's hang tight though. But Mishu is your race winner. And D-Bay, is he going to get the move done on Morpheus around the outside? Now, D-Bay, is he going to be able to hold on? No, he's actually left the track, so he can't hold on to that one. And Capo has snuck forward. Contact. I think Capo actually ran him on the inside there. I don't think D-Bay's going to be happy at all with that one. But Capo, D-Bay, Felix, and then Morpheus in P6 because of the penalty. That penalty ruined Morpheus's finishing position there. Evo in P7. And then Atsapatsa with also a penalty. He's going to cross the line in 8th, but Chimita will jump him. And let's see how many positions Atsapatsa loses. No more. So Glizzy 10th, Tajano 11th, Zuffin 12th, and then Hulu, who has a puncture, I'm pretty sure. Front left puncture on the last lap, rounds off your finishing order for the first round of the Academy Driver Series. There we go. An interesting race. It was very close for a long time with many cars. Like that good battle with I think Felix. You know, he put on a good show for us there. So big shout out to him. But overall, it was a rather dominant performance from Mishu. So Mishu is the winner of this race. Messiah second, also starting on the grid second. So the top two did not change. Capo then rounds off the qualifying. The podium position, starting on 7th. So excellent performance. I love how he was able to come back on that last lap. Not too sure about the last corner. I think D-Bay may feel he was squeezed. But D-Bay comes in 4th. Felix 5th. Morpheus 6th. And then Evo 7th. Chimita comes in 8th, having started 9th. That's a good performance there. Evo as well, 14th to 7th. Big shout out to him. Atsapatsa in 9th. Excellent stuff, getting some points and the fastest lap of the race. And Glizzy rounds off your top 10 in the Williams. Then Tajano narrowly misses out. Zuffin, Hulu, Carter 14th. Gracious in 15th. And Tyler is your last place finisher. The last 3 positions, so Carter, Gracious and Tyler, they DNF'd. And that was your 5th and 3rd starting position races. So there you have it. Those are the standings, and that's round 1 done and dusted in China. I hope you enjoyed that race. We'll be around next week, same time, for round number 2. Hopefully you can join us there. And regardless, I hope you enjoy the rest of your week. Have a good one, take care, and hopefully see you next time.